Hey everyone, does your family argue sometimes? Maybe your sibling is driving you crazy, or your parents seem a little too strict. If that sounds familiar, don't worry, you're probably still in a healthy family. No family is perfect or peaceful all the time, but in a good family, you know you can rely on them, and you feel safe and loved. A toxic family, though, is a whole different story. It's more constant and damaging. Growing up in a toxic environment can leave you with lasting emotional scars like stress, anxiety, and fear. Sound uncomfortably familiar? If so, here are 7 warning signs that you might be living in a toxic family situation. 1. Constant criticism and lack of support. One of the clearest signs of a toxic family is when you're constantly criticized or undermined. Healthy families encourage each other, offer constructive feedback, and celebrate each other's achievements. But in a toxic family, there is little to no support, just endless judgment. It's as if nothing you do is ever good enough. Whether it's your career choices, appearance, relationships, or life decisions, toxic family members always seem to have something negative to say. This can make you feel small, unworthy, or even anxious about opening up to them. Over time, this erodes your self-esteem. 2. You feel pressured. Have you ever felt overwhelming guilt or worthlessness because you didn't achieve 100%? Maybe you participated in a piano recital and only got 3rd place instead of 1st, and now you're questioning why you even tried. This kind of pressure often comes from your family, who might be placing unreasonable expectations on you. A well-known therapist, Carl Rogers, explains that conditions of worth mean you only feel loved and accepted when you meet someone else's standards. Parents often think they're helping by pushing you to do better, but this can turn toxic. They set impossibly high goals and criticize you harshly for even the smallest mistakes. This behavior is unhealthy and can significantly affect your self-esteem. 3. Favoritism and comparisons. Another sign of toxicity is favoritism. In a toxic family, one person might be praised all the time, while others are criticized and overlooked. This favoritism leads to unhealthy comparisons and feelings of inadequacy among siblings or family members. You might hear comments like, "Why can't you be more like your brother/sister?" This behavior can make you feel undervalued and isolated, creating resentment and rivalry between siblings. 4. You feel invisible. When your family ignores your needs, it can seriously hurt your mental health and confidence. It's easy to feel like you don't matter when your parents are always too busy for you, or your siblings never make time to hang out. It feels like nobody cares how you're doing, what you're feeling, or what you have to say. In a healthy family, people talk openly and honestly with each other. But in your family, you might feel alone, left out, and unimportant. 5. Playing the blame game. Toxic family members often refuse to take responsibility for their actions and instead shift the blame onto others. If something goes wrong, it's always someone else's fault. This creates a toxic environment where accountability doesn't exist and the cycle of negativity continues. For example, they might say, "It's your fault I'm upset," instead of taking ownership of their own emotions. This can leave you feeling guilty and confused, constantly questioning if you did something wrong, even when it's not your fault. 6. Emotional neglect. Emotional neglect occurs when family members don't provide the support or validation you need. It can feel like your emotions, experiences, or achievements don't matter. They might dismiss your feelings or fail to comfort you when you need it most. For instance, if you're going through a tough time and reach out for help, they may shrug it off, ignore you, or tell you to get over it. Emotional neglect can be just as damaging as outright abuse because it leaves you feeling invisible and unsupported. And finally, manipulation and control. Toxic families often use manipulation to maintain control over their members. This might involve guilt-tripping, gaslighting, or emotional blackmail. You might feel obligated to constantly prove your loyalty or love, even at the cost of your own well-being. Toxic family members tend to twist situations to make themselves the victim or to make you feel at fault. A common example is using guilt to pressure you into doing something you're uncomfortable with, like saying, "If you really loved me, you'd do this for me." This manipulation keeps you tied down and feeling responsible for their happiness. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on mental health and personal growth. Remember, recognizing and addressing toxic family dynamics is the first step toward creating a healthier, happier life. You're not alone in this journey, and there are ways to reclaim your peace. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care of yourself.